my first review, so bear with me. I'm not a professional. I don't make my living on YouTube, but I hadn't found any videos yet that cover the ARX100 in any detail. They show you how to flip the charging handle around, how to change the ejection side, things like that. There's a ton of those videos, but there's none yet that I have found, at least, that cover the different types of magazines that are out there, how they run in the weapon, if they do run, if they eject or extract from the weapon properly, drop free. So today, the video that I'm going to put together is going to have several of those things. I'm going to try different magazines from different manufacturers and see how they run in this gun, or if they do run. In itself, it's the Beretta magazine, steel construction, pretty heavy duty. We're going to try 5 rounds through it. Okay, it cycled just fine, as one would expect out of a factory magazine. Next magazine is a Magpul P-Mag. It's the Gen M2 Mo magazine. See how it runs and if it ejects or extracts from the weapon. And it drops free. Next up is a P-Mag, unknown exactly what generation or whatever it is, but it looks almost identical to the last magazine that we tried. Okay, it kind of wanted to drop free, but did not. Next magazine is the Tango Down ARC mag. Okay, first problem, this mag will not seat in the weapon. The back portion of it has got a hump that is actually striking the other magazine release on the bottom of the trigger guard. So Tango Down is a no-go. Okay, this is an older generation windowed P-Mag. We'll try it. Okay, it seats in the weapon. Okay, no drop free, but it seems to fit. Okay, next up, Troy Battle Mag. Seats just fine in the weapon. Okay. It drops free. The Lancer L5. Okay, acted like it didn't want to seat, but it did. Okay, definitely not a drop free. And last but not least, the Colt. Okay, Colt mil-spec magazine. And it drops free. All the magazines seem to function fine. The ones that actually fit in the weapon, which were all the magazines except for the Tango Down ARC mag. So here's the targets. It's a standard National Rifle Association human silhouette target. I'm going to be running 3 rounds mag change, 3 rounds mag change, 3 rounds mag change, shooting all center mass, hopefully. Distance is 10 yards. See if I can remember the controls on this gun. All right, go down range. Try this again. I had one miss. It was still on the silhouette, just slightly low of center mass. check the target. It's of 10 yards. Marked off the original miss, which was down here. And I have a new one right there. So, struggle a little bit today. And I'm struggling with the controls, but that's how you get better. Attempt 3. Let's go down range. Had a previous miss that's been marked. Previous miss that's marked. And I've got one that's split the line. I'd count that for anybody else. The controls, excuse me, the controls on this ARX are, excuse me, quite a bit different as far as the bolt release to charge the weapon to get it back up, and I'm kind of struggling with that a little bit. Also, the trigger on this gun is really stiff compared to what I usually shoot with. So my strings are not nearly as quick. Got one magazine loaded with 3, and then I've got 2 more magazines loaded with 4 each. I'm still at the 10-yard line. I'm going to try to work on strings. I'm going to try to work on getting smoother with the reloads and the bolt release. So without further ado, okay, head up range. And I can't turn the camera around, but it is, I ran it clean. Seems like I did speed up just a little bit from when we started. There's a couple of things to take away from this. The gun really likes the Troy battle mags. It runs really well on them. They slide right into the gun and fall very freely. Real happy with these mags' performance in this gun. The PMag, the Gen M2 Mo mags also, I've had really good luck with those so far. I haven't had any issues with loading them into the mag well or getting them to come out of the mag well as desired. I'd say if you can find these for your ARX, they are just as they function just as well as the Troy mags do. And GI mags have been flawless. And I'm running, these are just Colt magazines with the military spec, old school green followers, and they are running great. Which ones didn't work? We covered earlier the L5 translucent mags, the Lancer mags. I didn't have any luck getting them to fall free, but they do seat. They're sometimes a little bit difficult to get them to seat, but they will seat. And they will run in the gun. I don't know if there's been a later generation of these come out since I got mine. Tango down ARC mags are an absolute no-go. They will not seat whatsoever in the weapon. And then newer generation PMags and then the windowed PMags that I had will seat in the weapon, but they absolutely will not fall free. They are, you absolutely have to drag those out of the gun. So overall, for folks that run ARs predominantly, this gun is going to be a training evolution for you. Your bolt catch, instead of being located on an AR-15 right here, is actually ambidextrous. It's on both sides of the weapon, right outside of the trigger guard, right in front of it. It's operated by, you push down on it, and that will actually release the bolt, and it is very stiff. I don't know if it's just an issue of this gun needing to be broke in, but you see right here, I mean, it takes some doing to get that to go down. To get the bolt carrier to lock in the rear, you just simply pull up on it or push up on it, and that will
while you're pulling the handle back, it'll lock your bolt to the wheel. The safety selector, another sticking point. It is stiff. On my Scar, it is butter smooth. On this gun, you lose your master grip when you go to put the gun on safe. Getting it off safe is not an issue. You've got enough torque coming down to get the selector to work. Trying to push that thing back up, you just can't develop the torque. And what you end up finding yourself doing is literally coming out of your master grip and using this this finger, the top of that finger, to operate and send it back up. Haven't really played with the iron sights. They seem to be adequate. I'll probably just leave those alone. With this shorter handguard, the sling tends to get really in your way. On my ARs, I run most of my ARs with really long handguards, and I'll run my sling way out, and that tends to keep it from getting entangled in my gear or my arms, or it keeps it out of the way better than this one. I'm just going to have to experiment with it. The rear point is fine, but I'm not crazy about how it attaches up front, and I don't know. Hopefully somebody will come along with some cool gadget to rectify that for me, or I'll just keep experimenting with it to try to get something that doesn't get tangled. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with it. The trigger is really stiff. Again, I'm used to shooting guns with either Geisleys or match triggers in them, and this is just it's a stiff mil-spec type trigger. You can't run it at the same pace that you can the guns that have got really light triggers. I did get a little bit faster with practice, and that's what it's going to take. I'm not necessarily going to go out and try to as soon as Geisley releases the new trigger for it, I'm not necessarily going to put it in it, but that's just something to know. It's not a light trigger. One thing that I am learning that I don't like about the gun is this thing, this stupid thing right there. That is you're either gonna have to run gloves, or I'm gonna have to put cut an inner tube off a bike tire to wrap it around that. That thing is rough, and I've developed a blister just in the couple hours I've been shooting this gun. EOTech seems to be made for this gun, and I'm not an EOTech fan. I've had more EOTech shit to bed than any other optic that I can think of. I'm really an aim point guy. I tried to put an aim point on this, and it was fine, but the EOTech just really fit. It seemed to really fit nicely on this weapon, and it sits right. It's out of the way. I don't know. I may throw a micro on it. We'll see, because I was running an aim point or an ML2. So I may try a micro and see if I like that any better. But so far, the EOTech's been pretty nice on this gun. Barrel gets really hot. Obviously, you're not going to be changing out any barrels because there's none to be had anyway. But definitely, the barrel gets really warm, especially right up here by your gas block, which is duh. But keep that in mind with this shorter handguard. Don't overextend that hand and get it on that hot spot. They've changed this since I saw them at the SHOT Show, and basically you've got a control here that allows you to open up more gas for lighter loads. Right now it's set at the standard, and then there's non-standard according to the manual. It's run fine on American Eagle 55 grain, just red box stuff, the AE223. It's been running great on this. I didn't want to shoot up anything nice today, just playing with it, but that's powerful enough to cycle the action, and it works just fine. So I think that's about it. I'm going to shut up and get back to shooting.